And for more here, we are joined by former Deputy Director of the CIA, former Acting Director of it as well, Michael Morell, joins us from Washington. And Mike, again, you did support Hillary Clinton for president. There are a lot of questions now about the credibility of this information, specifically coming from Donald Trump's camp. What do you make of it?
I think the first point, Josh, is that nothing has been said officially by the U.S. government. This is all based on leaks. But based on those leaks, it looks as if the CIA believes, has come to the judgment that the Russian interference in the election was done with the intent of helping Donald Trump and hurting Hillary Clinton. Now, what caught my attention in those leaks was that the CIA analysts have attached a high confidence label to that judgment. That tells me that those analysts are pretty confident and that this is based on more than just circumstantial evidence, that they've got quite a bit of information, quite a bit of sources that are leading them to this conclusion.
This was presented, however, weeks ago. Why is it that we are only hearing about this now?
So what was presented weeks ago was an intelligence community judgment agreed to by everybody that the Russians were meddling. There was no judgment at the time as to intent. What's new now is a judgment about why the Russians were doing this. And it seems at this point that the CIA has come to this judgment themselves, and the rest of the intelligence community is not quite there yet. But I'll tell you what happens is that the CIA is usually out in front of the rest of the community, and the rest of the community usually catches up.
What is then the significance of the president-elect publicly criticizing the CIA's report here, not just rejecting its findings, but politicizing this?
So there's a very special, there should be, Josh, a very special relationship between the CIA and a president. And that special relationship is that CIA is the only group of people who walk into the Oval Office and don't want something from the president, aren't trying to influence him in any way. They are simply being objective, unbiased, calling them like you see them. And that is very, very important to a president on national security. And it's critical that both the president and the agency nurture that special relationship. And the leaks that are occurring, I'm not saying they're coming from the intelligence community or CIA, but the leaks that are occurring are undermining that relationship. And Donald Trump's comments about the CIA judgment is also undermining that relationship. It is not healthy for our national security.
And what do you make of the fact, meanwhile, that John Bolton has also suggested that perhaps the hacking of which all speak was perhaps a false flag operation?
I think that is all the evidence you need for why John Bolton should not get a senior position in government. He's a conspiracy theorist, and this is a good example of that. His argument is ridiculous.
So what are the implications then here? Again, if it is accepted that a foreign state actor targeted the national election and did so on behalf of one side and the side that would eventually win that election, what are the implications here, Mike?
So, Josh, I think it's huge, and I'm really surprised that more people haven't been talking about this and focused on it. The White House has not been focused on this enough. Congress and, quite frankly, the media has not been focused on this enough either. This is an attack on our democracy. This is an attack on who we are as a people. And we need to respond in two ways. One is we need that commission that John McCain is calling for to try to figure out exactly what they did and to make it very, very difficult that they can't do it again. That's one thing we need. The other thing we need is we need to push back on Vladimir Putin. He needs to pay a price here. We need to deter him from doing anything like this again, and we need to deter all those other countries that are watching how we're going to react to this, like China, Iran, and North Korea. We need to deter them from ever thinking about doing something like this.
Then,
it's a huge deal.
I'll get you out of here on this one, Mike. What do you make then, with this as the context of the reports that Rex Tillerson sits in the lead, could be named Donald Trump's nominee for Secretary of State sometime this week?
So I don't know him, but here's what I would tell you. Is the senior national security team, as it currently stands, and if the Exxon CEO gets the Secretary of State job, there is not a single person on the senior national security team who has ever made foreign policy and implemented it. People have run businesses, they fought wars, they served in Congress, they ran state governments, but nobody has ever made and implemented foreign policy. That will be a very steep learning curve for them.
Indeed it will. Former Deputy Director of the CIA, Michael Morell. As always, Mike, we do appreciate the time and the insight.
You're welcome.